Welcome to Humboldt Cubs football here on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM, KKOY. We are out of Chinook, Kansas. Joining us today on a beautiful, brisk night. It's about 65 degrees here, right about time for kickoff. Humboldt won the opening coin toss and decided to defer to the second half. So Jayhawk Lynn is going to receive the opening kick. Jayhawk Lynn comes in on the contest about 2-1 on the season. Humboldt is 3-0. So far, Humboldt has played every game at home due to weather issues. Second game of the year against Fredonia was scheduled away, but a little bit of flooding at the Fredonia Stadium moved that one to Humboldt, so they played a Saturday game.
It's number 11, Dagan Goodner, teeing it up for the Cubs.
It's going to be Dagan Goodner for the Cubs kicking off tonight. He's done a very good job all season on getting quite a bit of leg underneath his kicks. Most of them, they're kicking from their own 40. Most of them get to about the 15 or 10-yard line of the opposing team. He goes ahead and signals to the rest of his teammates, and he boots it. And Jayhawk is going to take it at the 10-yard line off of a bounce. They're going to go to the left side, bounce it out left. They're going to get a lane. And he's going to be brought down at about their own 28-yard line. Number 20 on the stop, that is Connor Haviland for the Cubs.
18-yard return for Broyles.
Broyles on the return for the Jayhawk. That return took a whole 6 seconds off the clock as they take over and going to start their first drive of the ball game at their own 28-yard line. You're going to see a lot of under center for the Jayhawk squad tonight. A lot of triple option. They're going to hand off right to the fullback up to the left A gap, and he's going to be stopped for about a 1.5 yard, 2-yard gain. That is number 23 on the carry for Jayhawk Lynn. That's going to be Cade Kelstadt, 5'10", 165 sophomore. Is what they have him listed at. So it's going to make it about a 2nd and 9 is what they're going to call it from the 29-yard line. That's about a half yard short of the 30. For those of you listening on the radio and not watching online, we are moving from right to left on your radio dial. Number 24 motions to the backfield. Lucky Humboldt didn't get a penalty there. Should have been a little bit of neutral zone infraction there. But instead they let it roll, and Jayhawk Lynn ran to the right side and lost about 3 yards.
Loss of 3 on the play makes it 3rd and 12.
It's going to be 3rd and 12 from about their own 26-yard line. Almost a guaranteed passing situation here if you're Jayhawk Lynn.
Ball's on the 26-yard line.
Quarterback for Jayhawk is Trayton Compton, a 5'8", 150 junior. They're going to line up in a pistol formation, twin receivers to each side. And it is going to be a pass. He's going to pass right, and he just misses every receiver to that side. Had a man open, kind of got to choose whichever one he wanted. But just simply missed his receivers, kind of threw it right between the two, and neither one adjusted to it well. So it brings up a 4th and 12, 10:26 remaining here in the first quarter, or about a minute and a half in. We go on 12-minute quarters here in Kansas high school football. And for those of you paying attention in the state, you should know that this is week 1 of district play, and a faulty snap. They had motion on the punt. Number 24 motioned across. It should be Broyles. And they snapped it, and it hit him right in the helmet. So Humboldt's going to get excellent field position here on their very first drive. That's going to them to about the Jayhawk 13-yard line. So about a 13-yard negative play for Jayhawk off of that faulty snap. I don't know if that was by design, that it was going to be a jet, but it looked like Broyles was not ready for it. Humboldt's going to line up in a pistol full house formation, single receiver to each side. And it's going to be a run to the right, and Haviland has a lane, and he is going to tiptoe into the end zone. Touchdown Cubs. First one of the ball game at about a minute 45 into the contest on one play of offense. Handoff to the right, hit the C gap, and stiff-armed one defender, and he made it in with ease. As they have much of the first 3 games of the season, I believe Humboldt should be going for 2 here. They are going to be going for 2. It's going to be pistol formation, tight end to the left, trip receivers to the right. And it is going to be a speed option to the left. Goodner is going to keep it, cut it upfield, and he's going to bulldoze his way into the end zone. 2-point conversion, good. That makes it 8-0 Humboldt Cubs over the Jayhawk Lynn Jayhawks. With that touchdown, before we get to kickoff, we're going to go ahead and send it back to the studio for a 30-second timeout. We'll be right back here on 98.5, 1460 AM KKOY. Welcome back to Cubs football here on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM KKOY. Just about set for the second kickoff already in the contest, a minute 45 in. Humboldt is already up by 8 as they pretty much got good field position off of a faulty snap on a punt, set him up at Jayhawk's 13-yard line and scored on one play on a run to the right side by Connor Haviland. And it's going to be a little bit of a pooch kick here on the kickoff, and Humboldt is going to recover the kick at the 25-yard line of Jayhawk.
Humboldt recovers that kickoff. They get the ball marked at the 26-yard line.
That's a pretty good play design on a kickoff for Humboldt there.
Ball first and 10.
Pooched it right about 25 yards to the right side of the field. Darn near rolled out of bounds, but Humboldt fell on it after a Jayhawk touch. So Humboldt's going to set up their second series of offense here. Off of that turnover, they're going to go pistol formation, single back set, twin receivers to the left, single to the right, and it's going to be a handoff. He's going to bounce it up the middle, and almost just tripped up by the shoelaces on his second run. Almost had 2 touchdowns on 2 carries. They went ahead and said they started this series at the 26-yard line. He made it to the 12, so a 14-yard run for Haviland on the play. Off of 2 carries so far, he's got 27 yards, averaging about 13.5 yards a carry so far. Very, very good start for the Cubs offense. It's going to be 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line. Clock just under 10 minutes left in the first quarter. Trips receivers left. Goodner's going to take the shotgun snap, pass left. Going to be a bubble screen. Going to be caught by Haviland out in the flats, and he is going to walk into the end zone. Touchdown Cubs. 3 plays, 2 scores. 1 of 13, 1 of 12, and the other play was a 14-yard gain on a run. Should make it 14-0 so far. Humboldt should be going for 2 here once again. 9:28 on the clock left in the first quarter. So just over 2.5 minutes here into the game. Humboldt's already up by 2 scores. They are going to line up for 2. They're going to go twin receivers to the left, single receiver to the right. Shotgun formation. And it's going to be a direct quarterback run up the gut, and Goodner's pretty much just going to walk right in behind his offensive lineman. They got a very, very good push there. So that makes it 16-0 Cubs here with 9:28 remaining in the first quarter. We're going to go ahead and send it back to the studio, take another 30-second timeout, and we'll be back for kickoff here on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM KKOY. Welcome back to Cubs football here on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM KKOY. Humboldt is set to kick off after scoring their second touchdown of the evening already. Just 3 plays of offense and 2 scores. Both drives set up very nicely deep into Jayhawk territory. Back deep to receive for the Jayhawks is number 24, Hayden Broyles, and number 10, Lane Thompson. Goodner to kick. It's going to be fielded by Thompson. Oh, muffed it at the 20, and he's just going to crawl back on top of it. And they're going to mark it at about the 18-yard line.
Thompson on the recovery.
Missed chance there. He probably could have got about 10 to 15 yards on the return if he would have just been able to catch it. So that's going to start Jayhawk at their own 18-yard line, 1st and 10, 9:24 remaining here in the first quarter. That kickoff only took about 4 seconds off the clock. Pretty much a line drive kick by Goodner. That's probably why it was a little bit tough to handle for Thompson. Jayhawk is going to roll out here for their second drive of the evening. They're going to line up in kind of a wishbone set, motion right. That is Thompson. And it is going to be an option play and just stuffed right up the middle. Looked like a quarterback keeper. And they're going to mark him down at about the 17-yard line. That's going to be a loss of 1. Number 7, Trayton Compton, quarterback for the Jayhawks, getting a signal from head coach Randy Leach. And they're going to line up and trip receivers to the right under center with a fullback directly behind the quarterback. And it is going to be play action. No, they're going to hand it off to the fullback, and he's going to be stopped for a no gain or maybe another yard loss. Humboldt's defensive line is just manhandling the Jayhawks O-line. They're going to say he gained a yard to get him back to the original spot here. So it's going to be 3rd and 10, 8:30 remaining here in the first quarter. Humboldt leads Jayhawk Lynn 16-0 if you're just joining us or have joined us here in the past few moments. This game being played at Mound City, Kansas, home of the Jayhawk Lynn Jayhawks. Jayhawks going to line up in a pistol formation, twin receivers to each side, just like the last third down play we've seen. Motion right, number 10. And not sure exactly what happened. A couple different flags on the play. See what the call is. It's almost got to be an illegal formation or false start on the offense. False start on the offense. So that's going to set them back about 5 yards. Make it 3rd and 15 from their own 13-yard line. Another obvious passing situation. Last time they were in this position, the quarterback just missed his receiver on the right side. It was about 7 or 8 yards off target. They're going to line up in the same formation. Each outside receiver is on the line. Each inside receiver is off the line. And they're going to be passing again right up the gut. And he's got an open receiver. That is number 24, Broyles, on the catch. And he's going to make it into Humboldt territory and be down at about the 42-yard line is where they're going to mark it. Do some quick math in my head here. That should be about a 35-yard gain on the play. Hit him right on a seam route up the middle. He was the inside receiver on the right side in the slot. Got about 2 steps on the defender, and he hit him right in stride. So very nice redemption pass for number 7 of Jayhawk, Trayton Compton. So it's going to be 1st and 10 Jayhawk. 7:30 remaining here in the first, taking over at the Humboldt 42. So the first time they have gotten into Humboldt territory this evening. They're going to line up back in that wishbone set, motion the outside, running back to the left, and he's going to get a fake handoff. They're going to hand it off to the fullback, and he gets to about, they're going to call it a 1-yard gain, so it should be at the 41-yard line, 2nd and 9. Personally, I feel like Jayhawk should just keep lining up in a spread formation where they've been getting some good yardage on that one play. They haven't really been getting anything in this tight set. Toss it out to Broyles to the left, and he's going to be tackled for about a 5-yard loss on the play. Motion from the right side of the formation to the left. Quarterback just pitched it to him, and there's about 3 or 4 Cub defenders waiting on him, waiting to give him a big old hug. So it's going to be 3rd down and 15 from the 47. They're going to go back to that twin receivers to each side spread formation. Humboldt playing very, very soft coverage in a 4-3 set. A little bit of a fumbled snap there. Number 7 had a hard time handling it. And then Tucker Hurst came in and wrapped him up for the sack. That's going to set up a 4th and about 19 or 18 yards. Joshua Hull is in on the stop as well for the Cubs alongside Tucker Hurst. Punting situation for Jayhawk. Good snap, good punt. It's going to be picked up at about the 20-yard line off of a bounce by Haviland. He's going to be patient running, and he's going to get to about their own 40-yard line. Flag on the play, though. We'll see what they call it here. It's going to be holding on Humboldt on the return. So that's going to push them. It's going to be a spot foul. They say the foul was committed at their own 41, so it should only affect about 10 yards off the end of the run. They'll probably mark it at they're going to mark it at about the 29.5-yard line. So pretty much the 30-yard line of Humboldt. Fortunate that the hold didn't take place deeper into the return. Humboldt is going to line up in the pistol formation. Twin receivers to the left, 2 tight ends, single running back. It's going to be an option to the right side. And Goodner is going to cut it upfield. He's got a lane, and he almost broke it. Another shoestring tackle for the Jayhawk defense, and Goodner is going to gain, let's say, about 25 yards on the run, I believe. 23 yards is what they say. Another pistol formation. Trip receivers to the left. Going left to right on your radio dial. It's going to be a handoff up the middle to Haviland. He's going to bounce it left, cut back up the middle, and he's going to gain about 5 or 6 yards on the run. Right at 5 minutes remaining here in the first quarter. Humboldt does lead Jayhawk 16-0. Humboldt's ball, they're at about the 42-yard line of Jayhawk. We're getting pretty close to sunset here in Mound City, and the sunset is absolutely beautiful. Light cloud coverage. Trips receivers to the left, shotgun formation for Humboldt. Goodner's going to take a direct snap, run it to the right, and he's going to be tackled for about a 1-yard gain. Should make it about 2nd and 3 for the Cubs. They're going to be at about the Jayhawk Lynn 40-yard line. They're actually going to call it a no gain. So it's going to be 3rd and 4 from they're going to call it the 39.5-yard line. 4 minutes remaining here in the first. It's going to be an empty set for Humboldt. Motion left, number 6 for the Cubs motions. Takes a jet sweep. He's up the left side. And he's going to be tackled at about the 26 or 7-yard line. That's good enough for about a 13-yard gain on the play. That was number 6 for the Cubs. Be Kyler Allen on the run. Humboldt trying to go up by 3 possessions here early in the ball game, still at the tail end of the first quarter. Handoff up the middle to Haviland, and he's going to break a couple tackles and get about 7 yards on the tail end of that run. Going to mark it at the 21, so they're going to call it a gain of 5. 3:30 remaining here in the first. For those of you watching on YouTube, just see if I can't get you a quick view of the sunset. Twin receivers to each side. It's going to be a stack formation for the receivers. And it's going to be a high snap. They've been liking that play actually all season. They're going to pretend it's a high snap, and it's going to be a direct snap to the running back. Goodner was lucky he was halfway paying attention on that play. He's kind of a paperweight on the play normally because he acts like it's a bad snap, turns around. And to his surprise, it was actually a bad snap. So they're going to lose 10 yards on the play. It's going to push them back to the Jayhawk 31. Should be 3rd down here. 3rd down and 13 is what they're calling it. It's going to be a play action pass. Goodner pass left. It's caught by Hurst. He's past the first down marker and getting a couple extra yards. Runs over a couple defenders, still on his feet, and he is pushing for the end zone. Touchdown Cubs. Hurst ran over about 4 different defenders on the play and ran an extra 8 yards into the corner of the end zone. That's going to make it 22-0 Cubs here with 2:15 remaining in the first quarter. Absolute effort play for Hurst on that reception. He should have been down at about the 14-yard line, broke a tackle, and ran over 3 more. Humboldt is going to go for 2 once again. They're going to line up in a little bit of a wacky formation here. Going to have 3 linemen on the ball, quarterback and running back behind them, and everybody else out to the right. Motion left, that's going to be number 6, Kyler Allen. And Goodner is going to run it into the end zone, break a tackle at the goal line. Could have easily pitched it, neither one could have got in. So that is going to make it 24-0 here with 2:15 remaining in the first quarter. Humboldt leads Jayhawk. We're going to go ahead and send it back to the studio for a 30-second timeout, and we'll be right back here with you on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM, KKOY. Welcome back to Cubs football here in Mound City, Kansas, as Humboldt takes on the Jayhawk. Lynn Jayhawks leading the Jayhawks 24-0 here at the tail end of the first quarter. Humboldt is set to kick off following a Tucker Hurst touchdown reception from Dagan Goodner. Goodner is set to kick. Broyles and Thompson's back deep to receive, and it's going to be fielded by number 7. That's actually the quarterback for Jayhawk, and he's going to shake a couple guys and get outside. And he's going to be pushed out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. Jayhawk has had one possession where they were able to get inside of Humboldt territory. They got to about the 40-yard line, and that was about as far as they got. It came off of a 3rd down pass completion. They're going to set up shop 1st and 10 at their own 32 is what they're going to say. It's more about the 33. The board says 32. They're going to line up in that tight set formation once again. And it's going to be a handoff to the right side. Number 10 is going to take it, and he's going to be down for about a half-yard loss on a play. Humboldt did a very good job plugging every single hole up in the inside That was number 10 for Jayhawk, Lane Thompson. Tried to bounce it back to the outside, to the far side of the field, and just really couldn't get anywhere. Got tracked down from behind. Had a hole, but just didn't have the speed to get there. I'm going to call it a 2nd and 10. Going to line up in a tight set once again. One receiver out wide. Motion to the left. The handoff to number 23 to the right side in the B gap, but they're going to call a false start on Jayhawk. It's going to be a 5-yard penalty. It'll be 2nd and 15 from about the 28-yard line.
On the 27-yard line.
Twin receivers to each side, shotgun formation for the quarterback. 2nd and 15. This is about the only time they've had any luck. It's going to be a jet sweep, and it's going to be stopped for about a yard gain. Broyles came in on the sweep and had a hole, but it closed very, very quickly. Humboldt's defensive line has been solid all season.
Be sure to check out the Booster Club table. See all the fashionable new
30 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. 3rd and 15. I'm going to say from the 27-yard line for Jayhawk. Same formation once again. Obvious passing situation. Good snap. 7 back to pass. He's going to pass right, and it is going to be picked off. Number 20, Connor Haviland, up the sideline, and he's going to be tackled at about the 10-yard line. Solid tackle, though. Looked like number 7 for Jayhawk. The quarterback actually came in and laid the lumber on Haviland. Both of them went airborne on the play. They're going to mark it down at about the 11. That's where he went out of bounds. So that's going to set up shop. 12 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. Humboldt in deep Jayhawk territory. 11-yard line, just outside of a goal-to-go situation. They're going to line up single receiver to the left, twin receivers to the right, double running back formation in the shotgun, and it's going to be a drop snap by Goodner. That was a good snap by the center. Goodner just missed it. Hit him about the shoulder, and his hands weren't quick enough to get there. That's going to be the end of the first quarter here. 24-0, Humboldt leads Jayhawk Lynn. We're going to go ahead and send it back to the studio and take about a 1-minute timeout. We will be right back here on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM, KKOY. Welcome back to Cubs football here at Mound City, Kansas. Start of the second quarter, the Cubs lead the Jayhawks 24-0. Driving once again, they're at the Jayhawk 19-yard line. Second down, it's going to be a jet sweep to the left. It's going to be a handoff to, I believe, number 6. Yep, Kyler Allen on the jet sweep to the left. He's going to be tackled at about the, they're going to mark him down at the 16-yard line. So about a gain of 3. That'll set up 3rd down and, well, about 15 yards. They're going to call it 3rd and 14 from the 15-yard line. That's what the board says, but the ball is placed at about the 15.5-yard line, almost a 16. Humboldt is going to line up in a shotgun formation. It's actually a wildcat formation. It's going to be a pass to the right. Goodner is going to pass to the right, and he's got a man. Tip ball, and broken up. Pass intended for Tucker Hurst, I believe. Thompson on the coverage for the Jayhawks. Played his position fairly well, got a hand on the ball and tipped it. Did a good job of not getting a pass interference call on him. Faced the quarterback just about the entire time. He was lucky to get a hand on it, though. Hurst almost grabbed it after the tip and got another hand on it to try and swat it away. That's going to bring up a 4th and 15 from the, now they're going to say the 16-yard line. They did correct it. Humboldt is going to line up with a single receiver left, twin receivers to the right, shotgun formation with a running back beside Goodner on each side. It's going to be another pass play. Pass to the right, and almost picked off by Thompson. Ill-advised throw by Goodner. Had a man standing directly in front of the intended receiver on the play. So that's going to be a turnover on downs, and the Jayhawks defense holds. See if the Jayhawks can get something going here on their, I believe, their 5th drive of the ball game. Still no points on the board here at home. 11:43 remaining in the second quarter, just getting underway. We do run 12-minute quarters here in Kansas. Quarterback under center, kind of another wishbone formation. Motion to the left, going to be a toss on the motion to Broyles. He's going to cut back left, and he's going to be tackled for about a 5-yard loss on the play. Jayhawks wanting to run this kind of under center, everything jam-packed up the middle type style offense, and it just is not working. Their offensive line is kind of getting manhandled here by Humboldt's defensive front 7. Really, their front 3. They're running a 4-3 defense, and then sometimes they'll mix it in with a 3-3-5. 11 minutes remaining on the clock. Keeps ticking. They're going to line up in that spread formation. I think they might realize that that's probably the best way to go. And it's actually going to be a timeout, Jayhawk. So we're going to go ahead and take a timeout with them. We'll be back here in about 30 seconds on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM, KKOY. Welcome back to Cubs football here in Mound City, Kansas, as the Humboldt Cubs take on the Jayhawk Lynn Jayhawks. For those of you watching on the YouTube channel, I actually just shot the camera towards the backside here of the stadium. Little double chain link gate action. A kid about 6 or 7 years old just snuck into the game, went between the gates. It's going to be 2nd and 16 for the Jayhawks offense here. Looking to get something going. They are still big old goose egg on the board. And they're going to go ahead and line up twin receivers to each side, pistol formation. It's going to be a play action pass, and the quarterback is going to be downed at about the 4-yard line. Sack on the play. I'm going to call it a loss of 5 on the sack. It's going to be 3rd and 21 for the Jayhawks. They're actually going to do a formation we haven't seen yet. Trips receivers to the right, quarterback under center. It's going to be a rollout pass to the left. He's going to be down at about the 1 or 2 yard line on the play, got sacked. Had a man open, but his offensive line could not hold the Humboldt defensive front. So it's going to be a punting situation for the Jayhawks once again. Familiar territory from them. The punter for the Jayhawks looks to be number 1. Get out my roster here and see who that is for him, because he's getting quite a bit of action tonight. That is Mason Barrett. And he's going to pooch it right up the gut. It's going to be fielded by Havlin at about the 35. He's going to bounce it right. He's going to get a lane. He's going to outrun some defenders. He's going to cut it back up the middle. He's going to bounce back out to the right, and he's going to be down at about the 2 yard line. About a 38-yard return. I do believe. They're going to mark him down at the 2. What a heck of a return by Haviland. Made about 2 different guys miss, cut it upfield, bounced it back outside, and almost got into the end zone. So Humboldt once again setting up shop in very, very good field position. Best field position of the night by far. Be about hard to top it starting at the opposing team's 2 yard line. Goodner's going to be under center for the first time tonight. Kind of a power package, and it's going to be a handoff to big old David Watts up the middle.
Touchdown, Humboldt.
Touchdown, Cubs. It's going to make it 30-0, 9-12 remaining here in the second quarter. Cubs leading Jayhawk Lynn. They're going to go for 2 once again, I believe. Another jumbo package. Watts in the backfield once again. More than likely going to be another handoff to Watts. He is going to get it, and he's going to run over a defender in the B gap. There is a flag on the play.
That was number 68. David Watts.
They really like to go to Watts down here on the goal line in a jumbo package. Kind of like if you ever watched Kansas City Chiefs football a couple years ago, they used to line Don Tari Poe up in the backfield and let him run her in.
Looks like they're going to move it back to retry.
And the penalty will be on the Cubs. So they're going to have to retry that 2-point conversion. And they're going to mark the ball at the 12-yard line, so it was a holding call on the Cubs. Retry 2-point conversion. You'd imagine it's probably going to be a pass play here for the Cubs. And they're going to line up trips receivers to the right. Shotgun formation. Tailback to each side of the quarterback. Goodner's going to pass bubble screen to the right, and it's going to be caught by number 6, Kyler Allen. He is going to dive for the end zone, lose the ball, and it is going to be.
2-point conversion attempt is unsuccessful.
They're going to call it no good. Not sure exactly why that was the ruling on the field. The refs are going to discuss it, I would assume. Allen dove for the end zone, and the ball came out before he got into the end zone. And I believe it was recovered by Humboldt. So by law of nature, one would think if it was recovered by Humboldt in the end zone that it would be a successful 2-point conversion off of a fumble. The officials are having a meeting at the center of the 10-yard line, trying to discuss exactly what the ruling should be. Either way, the Cubs are going to have a very nice lead. And I believe they're going to keep the points off of the board. Got 2 officials still talking, but They're going to keep the points off the board. I do believe that is an incorrect call, but it's one we're going to have to stick with.
Goodner teeing it up for Humboldt.
Humboldt is set to kick off. Goodner is the kicker for the Cubs. Back deep to receive is Thompson and Broyles. It's going to be a very good kick, fielded at about the 16-yard line by Thompson. He's going to cut it up middle. He's going to have a lane, and he is going to get to Jayhawk's 37-yard line.
Return out to the 38-yard line.
They're going to call it the 38-yard line.
3-yard return for Lane Thompson.
And they're going to call it a 23-yard return for Thompson. He almost broke it for a much larger run, but luckily for the Cubs, they had a defender right in the middle of the field keeping contained. So Jayhawk is going to take over 1st and 10 from their own 30. They're going to call it the 37-yard line. The announcer earlier said 38, but the officials mark it at the 37. And we all know that is the spot that actually matters. They're going to be back in the tight formation. Motion to the left is Broyles. It is going to be a fake handoff kept by number 7 for the Jayhawk. And he's going to be taken down for about a 4 or 5 yard loss on the play. It's not very good execution tonight by the Jayhawks offense. They're going to call it a loss of 6 for the Jayhawk offense, so that's going to push them back to, it looks like, the 31-yard line. Humboldt's defensive line has been solid all season, allowing very little yardage in each of their games, which have all been very, very large victories for the Cubs. It's going to be another handoff up the middle for Jayhawk, and it's going to be met directly by David Watts. They're going to mark that one as a 4-yard loss on the handoff. You'll mark it at the 27-yard line. It is going to be 3rd down for the Jayhawks. They're trying to get to about the 47-yard line, so it's probably going to be about a 3rd and 21 is what they're going to call it.
3rd and 20. 3rd and 21.
7:42 remaining here in the second quarter, so we're about halfway through the second quarter as we approach halftime. Humboldt does lead Jayhawk Lynn 30-0 for those of you who have joined us recently. Jayhawk's going to line up in twin receivers to each side, another spread formation. It's going to be a pass play. He's looking right, and he is going to be drilled as he throws it, and it's going to go directly into the dirt. I believe it was intended for number 1 for the Jayhawks.
Reminder to everyone this evening,
Mason Barrett was the intended receiver, and he's also going to be their punter this evening. So 4th and 21 for the Jayhawks. Barrett is going to be back punting for the Jayhawks. Back deep to receive should be Connor Haviland and Kyler Allen. Good snap for the punt. Almost blocked. David Watts was getting pretty close to it. And the ball is going to roll out of bounds at, looks like Humboldt's own 49-yard line, so it did flip the field of play just a little bit.
appears to be about the 49-yard line of Humboldt, where they'll set up 1st and 10.
Humboldt's going to set up shop 1st and 10 at their own 49-yard line. $30-0 is the score. Humboldt over Jayhawk Lynn currently. It's going to be a full house formation in the pistol set. It's going to be a direct quarterback run up the middle. Goodner has a lane. He's up the middle. Let's see if he can outrun the defenders. He is going to get down to the 10. 5. Touchdown, Cubs! Dagan Goodner outruns the entire defense on his way to a 51-yard touchdown run. 7 minutes remaining here in the second quarter, and that's going to make it 36-0 Cubs. They lined up in a very heavy pistol full house formation, and Goodner knew exactly what to do with it. shot right through the B gap on the left side, cut it back to the right, ran directly up the middle of the field. Broke one tackle at about the 20-yard line from behind and just took it the rest of the way. Humboldt's going to go for 2 once again. Goodner's going to take it. Going to be a jump pass up the middle, cocked. That is Tucker Hurst on the reception. So Cubs are up 38-0 now over Jayhawk Lynn. 7:02 remaining here in the first half. Let's go ahead and send it back to the studio for a 30-second timeout, and we'll be right back here on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM KKOY. Welcome back to Cubs football here in Mound City, Kansas, as the Humboldt Cubs take on the Jayhawk Lynn Jayhawks. Humboldt does lead Jayhawk Lynn 38-0 about halfway through the second quarter. Just Jayhawk has nothing to do on offense. Their offensive line is pretty much getting manhandled this evening by Humboldt's defensive front. It's going to be Connor Haviland set back to kick it for Humboldt. And he's going to get a pretty decent kick. It's going to be fielded about the 18-yard line for Jayhawk. He's going to bounce it left. That's number 10, Thompson, on the return. And it is 40-yard line is about where it looked like he got out, but they're actually going to mark it at the 35-yard line of Jayhawk Lynn. About all night on every return, the ball's gone to that side of the field for Jayhawk Lynn. And they have really done well on their returns. Humboldt's had a little bit of troubles keeping contain on the outside edge on that side of the field on special teams. So it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Jayhawk offense at their own 35-yard line. 6:56 remaining here in the half. They're going to come in a little bit of a wishbone formation. It's going to be encroachment called on number 77 of the Cubs. It's going to be a 5-yard penalty against the Cubs. It's going to be Caleb Clawman, senior defensive end for the Cubs. He knew it as soon as the whistle blew that he got caught. So that's going to make it a more manageable 1st and 5 for the Jayhawks. Line up in a wishbone formation once again. Handoff up the middle, and he's going to gain about 2 yards. Kind of hard to see exactly what they're doing from physical standing position I'm in. Handoff was to Broyles. They're going to call it a gain of 2, make it about 2nd and 3 on the play. They're going to send one receiver out to the far side of the field is Jayhawk. Everybody else up right in the middle of the field. Fullback and 2 tailbacks. Going to be a handoff right up the middle, and he's going to be met. Tucker Hurst on the stop for the Cubs. Number 23 on the carry for the Jayhawks. Going to be stopped for about a 2-yard loss, so that's going to push him back to about 3rd and 5. From their own 40-yard line is where they're going to spot it. Just under 6 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. Quarterback under center. Tight end to the left, single wide receiver to the right. It's going to be a pitch out to the left to Broyles, and he's going to be met in the backfield. Another 1 or 2 yard loss. That's going to bring up 4th down for the Jayhawks. about looked like number 52 on a stop, Joe Murrow. 5 minutes remaining here in the first half. Punting situation for Jayhawk Lynn. Back and deep to receive is Haviland and Allen. Barrett to punt, low snap, and it's blocked. And it's going to bounce about 15 yards. And Jayhawk will fall on it at about their own 47-yard line. So Humboldt's going to take over with very, very good field position. They're going to call it the 48-yard line is where it was downed at. We're going to go ahead and keep it here. Humboldt's offense is already out onto the field and ready to go. Getting a signal from the coach, and they're going to try and speed things up here a little bit, I believe. Try and get another score here before halftime so we can have a running clock in the second half. 4:49 remaining here in the first half. Humboldt leads Jayhawk 38-0. Another full house pistol formation for Goodner. He's going to hand off to the right, and Haviland's going to have a big hole, almost breaking it. He's going to be down at about the 28-yard line. 20-yard carry on the play. Humboldt's offensive line is doing a great job in the trenches this evening, as is their defensive line. That's definitely the reason they've been winning this game. It's going to be another pistol formation for the Cubs. Twin receivers to the left, fullback and tailback in the backfield. Going to be a handoff up the middle. Haviland's going to have a hole, bounce it out right, and he is going to waltz into the end zone. 28-yard run for Haviland. He had 2 carries on that drive on 2 plays, 48 total yards rushing, and only about 40 seconds came off of the clock. Humboldt goes up 44-0 as we are awaiting the 2-point conversion try. Humboldt is going to line up in a empty set. Goodner alone in the backfield. Motion left. It's going to be a handoff to Kyler Allen. He's going to be met in the backfield. He's going to break it, and he's going to walk into the end zone. There is a flag on the play. Depending on who the flag is against, it would be 46-0 Cubs, but they might have to take 2 points off and try her again. Going to be face mask against Jayhawk Lynn, so the play will stand and a penalty should be enforced on the kickoff. It's going to be a 15-yard penalty assessed on the kickoff, so that should push the kick to about the 45-yard line of Jayhawk for the kickoff. So while we await kickoff, let's go ahead and send it back to the studio. 30-second timeout, 98.5 FM, 1460 AM, KKOY. Welcome back to Cubs football. Goodner is set to kick it for the Cubs. Thompson and Broyles back deep to receive for Jayhawk. It's going to boot it from Jayhawk's 45-yard line. It's going to be taken by number 7, the quarterback for Jayhawk. Short kick, caught at about the 25, and he's going to gain about 3 extra yards and get it to about their own 28-yard line. So Jayhawk takes over 1st and 10, 4:07 remaining here in the first half, down 46-0 to Humboldt. They're actually going to mark the ball at the 30-yard line. Jayhawk is still yet to get anything going on offense. Offensive line has been manhandled all evening by the Humboldt defensive front. We're going to have another tight set formation. Motion right. Thompson is the motion man, and he's going to trip and fall on the handoff, and it's going to cost him about 4 yards. Not sure why Jayhawk keeps going back to this tight formation, but they do. Of all of their offense, they probably have about negative 10 or 15 yards in that formation, and about a positive 30 yards in a spread formation, so off much fewer plays. They're going to go ahead and keep it tight once again. Motion left, pitch out to Broyles. He's going to cut it back up the middle, cut it back to the left, and he almost had a lane but couldn't quite outrun everybody. So he's going to be stopped for about another 1 yard loss. That's going to bring up third down for the Jayhawks. 3:15 remaining here in the first half, and the clock keeps ticking. Humboldt does lead Jayhawk 46-0 for those of you who are just joining us. 3rd and 16 from the 24-yard line for Jayhawk Lynn. Another spread formation here on 3rd and 16. Obvious passing down. It's going to be motion to the right. It's going to be number 10, Thompson. It's going to be a jet sweep, and he's going to get a little bit of a lane, but not much. He's only going to gain about a yard on the play. Should have been a passing situation, but Jayhawk decided to run a sweep on the play to see if they could trick Humboldt. And Humboldt's very fundamentally sound and very disciplined on defense, so that did not work out very well. It's going to bring up a 4th and 15 from Jayhawk's own 25-yard line. Barrett is back to punt for the Jayhawks. We have some new returners in the game, or at least a new returner in the game for Humboldt, number 13 for the Cubs. Barrett takes a snap, going to do a rugby-style kick, and it is going to be fielded by Haviland at the 45. He's going to break a couple tackles, break it outside. He has a lane. Excellent block on the edge. He's going to dance around and get down at about the 13-yard line. About a 28-yard return, 33-yard return, somewhere in there for Haviland.
About the 15-yard line, that would be a 35-yard punt return.
They're going to call it a 35-yard return as the announcer and mark him down at the 15. So once again, for about the 4th time this evening, Humboldt is going to take over with excellent field position. They're already in the red zone. Special teams play has been spot on for the Cubs. It's going to be a timeout here called by Humboldt. Minute 50 remaining here in the first half. Let's go ahead and take a timeout with them. We'll be back in 30 seconds here on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM, KKOY.
Jayhawk Lynn cheerleaders. First and 10 Humboldt. They're at the 15-yard line.
Welcome back to Cubs football here in the first half of play, minute 30 and ticking. We just missed one offensive play from Humboldt. They ran it right up the middle for about 3 or 4 yards. Going to call it a gain of 5, 2nd and 5 at the 10-yard line for the Cubs. Minute 24 remaining and ticking. Cubs lead the Jayhawks 46-0 here in Jayhawk Lynn. It's going to be trips receivers to the left for the Cubs, single receiver to the right, shotgun formation, single back set. Goodner's going to take a direct snap handoff, and almost a horse collar call, and he's going to be down at about the 1-yard line. And looks like Goodner might be shaken up just a little bit on the play, but he's quick to bounce up. 9-yard run for Goodner on the carry. Try and get in the end zone one more time before the half. 40 seconds remaining and ticking. 1st and goal from the 1 for the Cubs offense. I would almost imagine that they'll line up in a jumbo set with David Watts in the backfield in this type of situation. Let him run over a couple more guys, get him some points. They're going to line up in a tight set formation. Single back set. Haviland is the running back. It is going to be a pitch out left to Haviland, and he's going to walk into the end zone. Touchdown Cubs. 9 seconds remaining here in the first half. That's going to push the score to 52-0. I imagine they'll go for 2 one more time here to try and push it to 54. It's getting a little bit chilly out here this evening. Assistant coach for Humboldt's got some jokes up here. It's going to be a pitch out left on a 2-point try, and going to be a no good stop in the backfield. Number 24, Broyles on the stop. Connor Haviland tried to get there, but couldn't quite get there. So there's going to be time for a kickoff and maybe one offensive play for Jayhawk Lynn here before the half.
There'll be some halftime entertainment for you. The dance team and the band will be performing.
Jayhawk Lynn over the past couple of years has been a pretty solid ball club, but as they even beat Humboldt last year in Humboldt, Humboldt's going to return the favor here tonight. Afraid it appears 52-0 right before the half. Looks like Humboldt is going to open up district play with a victory so far, unless something very, very drastic does change. Humboldt is going to kick off from the 40. Broyles and Thompson back deep to receive. Goodner set to kick. Signals to everybody. He's going to boot it. Little pooch kick to the right side. Going to be fielded by number 7 for the Jayhawks. Going to get a couple blocks. He's going to bounce it out. Spin back upfield and is going to be down at about the 44-yard line. 3 seconds do remain on the clock for Jayhawk. If they can kind of draw up something in the huddle real quick, they might be able to get a score on the board as they head into halftime. Going to set up shop 1st and 10. They're going to go ahead and set it at the 45. And they are going to be in a tight set formation once again. I would almost ask them to do another twin receivers to each side. They're going to snap it. They're going to hand it off to the fullback, and they're going to gain about 5 yards. That's about the best offensive play in the tight set formation we've seen from Jayhawk all evening. So that's going to take us into halftime. Score is 52-0 in favor of the Cubs over the Jayhawks here in Mound City. We're going to go ahead and send it back to the studio. They're going to put 15 minutes on the clock for their breaks. We're going to go ahead. Let's take a 8-minute timeout as we head into halftime. Get our sponsorship a little bit of airtime here. And we'll be right back at 98.5 FM, 1460 AM, KKOY.
Jayhawk Lynn Marching Band Friday night at the movies.
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, that's fine. Do you just want to do the entire 15 minutes? Go for it. Right on, I'll shoot you a text. There you go. 45 seconds. Yeah, went by pretty quick. But they're all doing warm-ups out there, so if you want, you can send it back. I can go over some other scores around the state or something. Right on. Welcome back to Cubs football here as we're about set to open the second half. Each team is on the field doing some warm-ups, trying to get stretched out before we get going again. Humboldt does lead Jayhawk Lynn on a road contest in here in Mound City. Jayhawk Lynn, the home team. Humboldt leads 52-0 so far. We're going to go ahead and get you some scores from around the state here really quick.
Royals 4, Detroit 2.
Kansas City Royals currently winning, the PA announcer just said. Let's see if we can get some relevant scores here. Cherryville is leading Belle Plaine 26-14 in the third quarter. Pleasanton 30, Blue Stem 0. Oswego 20, Sedan 15. Labette County is leading Winfield 14-6. Linden is currently beating Uniontown 21-14. The battle of the Crawford County area, Southeast Cherokee against Northeast Arma. Cherokee leads that one 20-0 as they're playing at Arma. Pittsburgh is currently leading Fort Scott 14-0 at the half. Of course, this one's 52-0. Let's see, Yates Center currently down 34-0 against Northern Heights. Let's see, final scores. A couple of 8-man contests have already gotten over with. St. Paul beat Colony Crest 50-0. Let's see if we can find some other ones. Anderson County leads Iola 28-6, and that was at halftime. Centralia leads St. Mary's Colgan from Pittsburgh 20-0. Second quarter, this was reported 35 minutes ago. Chanute leads Ottawa 7-6. Try and get a couple more local scores if we can find some. Coffeyville was leading Independence 28-0 in the second quarter. Parsons 21, Baxter Springs 0 in the second quarter. I think that's probably about all we're going to be able to see here. Shout out to Scores in Kansas Twitter page for keeping me up to date on all the scores that are going around currently. We're about 20 seconds left on the clock here as we prepare for kickoff. Jayhawk Lynn is already in kick formation, waiting on Humboldt to get out there in their return formation. Very, very solid first half for the Humboldt Cubs. Running the football. There's just about every single yard they gained on offense was on the ground. I don't have an official stat keeper tonight, so I'm doing radio and running a camera, so don't really have a free hand to keep much stats right now. Try and get you some post-game if I can. Not sure if anybody's keeping some in the booth down below me or not. But I'm going to guess Humboldt was north of 200 yards on the ground in the first half. Jayhawk Lynn set to kick it off as they received the opening kickoff of the game. It is Barrett set to kick off for the first time tonight for the Jayhawks. And he's going to do an onside kick, and it is going to be recovered by Humboldt. It is number 50 on the recovery for the Cubs. That is Joe Murrow on the recovery. I think earlier I made a mistake I was thinking Joe Murrow was number 52. but I believe that's actually Reed Barnett on the Cubs. I believe Reed made a tackle, and I gave credit to Murrow. So try and get that fixed there a little bit. So it's going to be Humboldt ball at the 47-yard line in Humboldt territory. It's going to be a pass play out right. It's going to be caught by number 6. He's down the sideline. He's going to break a tackle. And on the first play, he's going to get the edge, and he is going to outrun everybody. Oh, pushed out of bounds, they say. Kyler Allen just about took that one to the house. They're going to say he went out of bounds at about the 10-yard line. So they're going to credit him with a 43-yard reception on a bubble screen to the right. Excellent way to start off the second half if you're Humboldt. I believe we're probably going to have a running clock here for the entire second half, as Humboldt does lead 52-0. I believe once you're up by 40 in the second half, it's a running clock. Goodner's going to take the snap, handoff left to Haviland. He's going to bounce it all the way to the outside, cut, outside, pylon, touchdown, Cubs. Touchdown. 10:20 remaining, so within a minute and a half. 2 plays is all it took for the Cubs, and they are in the end zone. 58-0 is now the score. I imagine they're probably going to go for 2 once again. I believe this is the most points that the Cubs have scored so far this season, and we're still much of the second half still to go as we just started here. And they're actually going to try for a field goal here for the extra point. It is Goodner to kick it. Can't quite see who the holder is from here. I believe it's Kyler Allen. It is Allen, and it is going to be good. Kick is good for Goodner. He gives a little bit of an uppercut celebration. 9:20 remaining here in the third quarter as time keeps ticking. Let's go ahead and send a 30-second timeout back to the studio. 98.5 FM, 1460 AM, KKOY.
Extra point is their first kick, an extra point of the season.
Welcome back to Cubs football here in Mound City, Kansas. Running clock here in the second half as Humboldt leads Jayhawk Lynn 59-0. 8:30 remaining and ticking here in the third quarter. It's going to be Goodner set to kick off for the Cubs. Broyles and Thompson set back to receive, standing at the 15-yard line. Kick is going to go to Thompson's side, and he is going to let it roll into the end zone smartly. So it's going to be a touchback for the Cubs. And the Jayhawks will bring it out, and they're going to set up shop 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. We'll see if the Jayhawks can get anything going on offense. Keep saying that, but they just haven't got anything going yet. Like to run a little bit of a wishbone spread option style offense with tailbacks kind of flanking each side of the offensive tackles and a running back about 3 yards behind the quarterback. And they're going to line up in that formation once again. Receiver out wide to the left of the formation. Motion left. It's going to be a handoff to the motion guy. He's going to run upfield and get about a yard on the play. Ball carrier was number 10, Thompson, for the Jayhawks. It's going to be about 2nd and 9 from the 21-yard line. Humboldt still has their first-team defense in the game as they are leading by almost 60. Here halfway through the third quarter. I imagine they'll probably sub in the second teamers here in the next series or two. Jayhawk lining up number 7 under center. It's going to be a handoff to the fullback, and he's going to rumble ahead for about a yard as he is chopped down by number 50, Joe Murrow. Number 23 on the carry for Jayhawk Lynn. That is Cade Kelstadt. They're going to call it a gain of 2. And the previous run was a no gain, so they're going to say it's 3rd and 8 from the 21. Six minutes and ticking here in the third quarter. Should be a passing situation for Jayhawk on 3rd and 8, but I've said that a time or two, and they decided to run it. Broyles is going to motion right. He is going to take a pitch. He's going to try and cut back up the middle, and he is going to be brought down for a no gain on the play. It's going to bring up 4th and 8 from about the 21-yard line. They're actually going to mark it at the 20, so they're going to say he lost about a yard or two. So they're going to bring that one back to the original line of scrimmage. So it's going to be 4th and 10, punting situation. Barrett back to punt for Jayhawk Lynn. Number 13 and number 20 back to receive the punt for the Cubs. Spiraling punt, short one. It's going to be taken at about the 38-yard line of Jayhawk Lynn by Haviland. He's going to break 2 tackles. He's going to bounce it out left. He's going to try and outrun him to the end zone. He's got one man to beat, and he just sidesteps him and waltzes right into the end zone. That's going to bring the score to 65-0 in favor of the Cubs if we have 4:45 remaining in the third quarter. Haviland took that from one side of the field all the way across and then down the field. He probably ran about 95 yards for a total of 38. They're going to go for an extra point once again, try and get Goodner a little bit of practice here kicking the extra points. Try and make it 66-0. Allen, the holder, good snap, good hold, and he puts it through. 66-0 Cubs, 4:12 and ticking left on the clock here in the third quarter. We're going to go ahead and send it back to the studio for a 30-second timeout, and we'll be right back here on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM, KKOY.
Dedicated to quality and craftsmanship for over a century.
Goodner kicking. Broyles and Thompson. Deep for the Jayhawks.
Welcome back to Cubs football here on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM, KKOY. 3:10 remaining on the clock here in the third quarter as it continues to tick. We have a running clock as Humboldt leads Jayhawk Lynn 66-0. Goodner on the kick, fielded by Thompson, muffed the kickoff, and he's going to be drilled at the 15-yard line by a couple of Humboldt defenders. It's going to set up shop for Jayhawk Lynn at their own 15-yard line, 1st and 10. So once again, they're trying to get something going on offense, and Humboldt's defensive line is just killing them all night. 2:25 remaining here in the third quarter. Jayhawk Lynn approaches the line of scrimmage. They're going to flank one receiver out wide. That is number 80 for the Jayhawks. Everybody else is going to keep in tight. It is going to be a handoff up the middle, and he is going to be stopped for a no gain on the play. Kelstadt, the ball carrier.
No gain on the play.
I'm thinking they might have even lost about a yard on the play. I'm going to say that's probably 2nd and 11 from the 14-yard line coming up for the Jayhawk offense. Minute 40 remaining here in the third quarter. Jayhawks are going to line up in the same offensive formation once again. One receiver flanked out wide. Motion to the right is number 10, Thompson. He is going to take a pitch. He is going to get to the edge, try and cut back and get a couple extra yards, and he's going to get to the 20-yard line. So actually a pretty decent gain for the Jayhawk offense. They're going to call it a gain of 5. I think it's more of a gain of 6. So it's going to be 3rd and 5 from the 20-yard line for the Jayhawk offense. 50 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. Jayhawk approaches the line of scrimmage. They're going to have twin receivers to each side. This has been one of the more favorable formations for their offense tonight. I'm wondering why they haven't gone to it more. It's going to be a roll out to the left, passing situation. Number 7, he's just going to tuck it and run upfield. He's going to get the first down, and he's going to be dragged out of bounds about 5 yards past the first down marker at about the 25-yard line or so. They're going to mark him at the 24, so 1st and 10 Jayhawks. So once again, going to that spread formation, kind of getting everything outside of the Humboldt defensive front. And that's going to bring us to the end of the third quarter. Humboldt does lead still 66-0. We're going to send it back to the studio for another 30-second timeout, and we'll be right back here on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM, KKOY. Welcome back to Cub football here as we start the fourth quarter. There's going to be Jayhawk Lynn ball on their own 29-yard line, 1st and 10. Is number 7, the quarterback for the Jayhawks, just made a nice run out to the right side on a bootleg. He's going to be pressured heavily here and almost threw a pick. Number 32 on the coverage, pass intended for Broyles. It's going to make it 2nd and 10 from the 29-yard line for the Jayhawk offense. We do have a running clock here in the second half, 11:45 remaining on it. As Humboldt still leads 66-0, no changes in the score since about 2 minutes into the third quarter. Jayhawk is going to try to get on the board here. They're going to go back into the tight formation, kind of a wing-back set. Thompson's going to motion right. It's going to be a pitch to Thompson. He's going to cut it back upfield, and he's going to be stopped. Try to see who is in on the stop. Number 7 and number 60 for the Cubs on the stop. They combine, probably each get an assisted tackle on the play. Number 7 for the Cubs is Speed Hepker, and number 60 is Taylor Lossman. They're going to mark the ball at the 27-yard line, so a loss of 2 on the play. That is going to make it about 3rd and 12 for the Jayhawks. More than likely, I would think another passing situation, as you're already down by 66 points, and they do spread it out. 2 receivers to each side, single tailback set. Good snap. Going to look right to pass, roll out right, try and outrun a defender, and he's going to be sacked. Number 77 for the Cubs is going to be credited with a sack.
Thompson, the ball carrier.
Sack was by Caleb Clawman, senior defensive end. He actually got called for an offsides penalty earlier in the game, so he kind of redeems himself a little bit there.
Ball on the 18-yard line.
They're going to mark the ball at the 18-yard line, so that was a loss of 9 on the sack, so a very, very big sack by Clausman.
Loss of 9 on that play.
It's going to be 4th and 20 for the Jayhawks. Barrett back to punt it. And he's going to get a little bit of distance on this one as it's fielded at the 46-yard line. And number 13 is going to cut it back up the field, and he's going to be tackled. And they're going to mark him down at about the 23-yard line of Jayhawk Lynn. So about a 20-yard return, 25-yard return for Humboldt on the play. I believe that was Coronado on the return for Humboldt, number 13. Yep, Isaiah Coronado did a very nice job on that one. Acted like he was going to bounce it to the right sideline and then ended up cutting back up field and was tackled right in the center of the field of play. 9:06 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Humboldt still leads 66-0. Setting up shop at the 23-yard line. 1st and 10. Spread formation. It's going to be a handoff up the gut. Coronado is in at quarterback now. They have brought out the second team offense now. Handoff was to, trying to see the number here, I believe number 15. Yep, number 15 there for Humboldt. It should be Cooper Zaro on the carry for the Cubs. It's going to be 2nd and 5 from the 18-yard line for the Cubs offense. Going to be trips receivers to the right, pistol formation, single tailback behind the quarterback. It is going to be a run to the left, a little bit of not knowing what's going on between quarterback and running back. Coronado thought he was going to do a little bit of a read play, and Cooper Zaro wasn't really sure what was going on. They ran into each other, and Coronado actually set a lead block, kind of improvising, and they got the first down. They're going to mark it at the 10-yard line, so it's 1st and goal for the Cubs. 7:37 remaining here in the fourth quarter as the Cubs try to just run out the clock and maybe get one more score in before the end of this one. Twin receivers to the right, pistol formation, handoff to Cooper Zaro. He's going to bounce it back to the right, and he's going to get into the end zone. Touchdown, Cubs. Cooper Zaro is going to be credited with a 10-yard rushing touchdown. That is going to make the score 72-0 as the Cubs continue just to pile it on. Might wonder if there's a little bit of bad blood in the coaching staff for Humboldt, as Jayhawk Lynn beat them in Humboldt last year, and from what I hear, pulled a little Baker Mayfield at the Big House in Ohio State and planted a flag in the middle of the Cubs field following the game. It's going to be an extra point try for Goodner. Good snap, good hold, and it is through the upright. 73-0 is now the score. 6 minutes, 27 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter. We are going to go ahead and send it back to the studio for a 30-second timeout before we get this kickoff underway. 98.5 FM, 1460 AM, KKOY. Welcome back to Cubs football here in Mound City, Kansas, as the Humboldt Cubs are taking on the Jayhawk Lynn Jayhawks. About 5 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter as Humboldt has very easily handled this ball game as they lead 73-0. They're set to kick off. Goodner boots it deep, and it looks like it is going to be fielded by Thompson at about the 5-yard line, and he's going to cut it back up the middle, and he's going to gain a little bit of yardage. He's actually pushing the pile a little bit, and they're going to mark him down at about the 18-yard line. So a 13-yard return there for Thompson. He thought it might roll back into the end zone for a touchback, as it did on the last kickoff, but Fell dead at the 5, so he decided to pick it up and run it up the middle of the field. Gained 13 yards, so it's going to set Jayhawk Lynn up with a 1st and 10. Excuse me, 19-yard line. 4:35 remaining here in the 4th quarter. Jayhawk Lynn is going to try and score something here, I would assume, so they don't end this ball game with a big old goose egg. They break the huddle and approach the line of scrimmage. They're going to still be in their kind of a wishbone formation here. One fullback behind the quarterback, 2 tailbacks flanking each offensive tackle. It's going to be motion left, and it's going to be a carry, I believe, by Broyles, and he's going to gain about 4 yards on the carry. Gain of 4 on the play. It's going to be 2nd and 6 from about the 23-yard line. I believe Humboldt would be ecstatic to get out of here at the 73-0 win. And Jayhawk would at least like to get some sort of points on the board as we approach 3.5 minutes left to play in the ball game. Single receiver out to the left for the Jayhawks. Another wishbone formation, motion right, and there's going to be an offsides penalty or neutral zone infraction, however you'd like to say it, against the Cubs. It's going to be on number 74 for the Cubs. That is Travis King, junior offensive lineman. It's going to be a 5-yard penalty. And it's going to make it 2nd and 1 for the Jayhawks. A little bit more manageable than a 2nd and 6. Going to line up in that tight formation once again. Single receiver out left. Thompson motions right. It's going to be a handoff to Thompson, and he's going to get the 1st down and about an extra 2 yards on the play. Go ahead and move the chains. 2:30 remaining in the 4th. As Jayhawk is finally getting some offensive momentum going. Afraid it's a little too late here, though. I believe most of Humboldt has their 2nd team defense on there now as they sub out the entire defensive line. 2:08 remaining. Single receiver to the right for the Jayhawks. Another tight formation. Motion left. It's going to be Broyles. It's going to be a handoff to Broyles. He's going to take it up the middle, and he's going to gain about 3 yards. Trying to gain back some of the negative yardage they lost early in the game. It's going to be 2nd and 7 for the Jayhawks. 1:40 remaining in the ball game. Ball is placed at the 35-yard line. Jayhawks still in their own territory. Getting a signal from the sideline is number 7 for the Jayhawks. That is Trayton Compton, quarterback. 1:17 remaining. Single receiver to the left is number 80 for the Jayhawks. Thompson motions right. And late whistle there. I believe another encroachment call against the Cubs defense, but not really sure. There was no flag on the play, but everybody acted like that's what it was, and they finally just blew the play dead. And they are going to call it encroachment against the Cubs. I didn't see a flag on the turf anywhere, but they're going to go ahead and call the penalty. 40 seconds remaining here in the ball game. It makes it 2nd and 2 from their own 40-yard line. Single receiver to the right, tight formation once again. 23 is the fullback. Thompson and Broyles the tailbacks. Broyles does motion to the left, takes the handoff, bounces it out right. He's going to get the edge, and he is going to be brought down at the Humboldt 45-yard line. And that is going to be the final play of the ball game. Clock is under 10 seconds, and there's no way they're going to get another play off. And clock hits 0. Humboldt Cubs over the Jayhawk Lynn Jayhawks 73-0 as they completely handled the Jayhawks here in Mound City. we're going to go ahead and send it back to the studio for a 2-minute timeout before we get back here and do some final scores around the state. So we're going to go ahead and send it back 2 minutes, 98.5 FM, 1460 AM, KKOY.
Unplug my cord. Which one? Orange one.
Night for that. That's how Shake got the baby. That's right. What Shake showed her at his best. It just happened. It's trying to get you new. Stop it. Night. Play new Coca-Cola. It is organic orange flow. Wow. Hungry? You need dark signature sweater. It's sure to get the stop. What kind of flavor is that? Kind of a blow. So we clapped it. It's got to drop it. What kind of flavor is that? What kind of catch it be? And those things that try not to tip it because it was a small ball.
Do what now? Turn one of what's off. Oh, I don't know. Welcome back to Cubs football here on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM. Go ahead and wrap up this contest with a little bit of score updates from around the states for those of you wondering. Scores in Kansas Twitter page has updated a few scores. Fourth quarter action, Pittsburgh over Fort Scott 14-0 so far. Chanute leads Ottawa 14-6. Labette County leads Winfield 20-6. Let's see some other ones that are close. Field Kinley, Coffeyville is leading Independence 56-6. In the third quarter was when that was updated about 13 minutes ago. Burlington leading Girard 28-6. Let's see here. Olpe is winning their contest by 1 point over Jackson Heights in the third quarter. Pleasanton was leading Bluestem 38-0 about 20 minutes ago. See if there's any other ones close that have been updated lately. Erie is going to get their first win in a long time as they're leading Riverton at halftime 30-6. I imagine they kept that lead. 24 points is kind of hard to give up, but then again, it can happen. And that's about all the score updates on that Twitter page that we have. So with that, we're going to go ahead and end this broadcast. Thanks to Byron back at the studio for keeping me in line and making the commercials go smooth tonight. Did a good job tonight, buddy. Thank you to all of our sponsors. I'm not even going to try to name them. There's too many to name tonight. I don't have my list with me like I did last week. But for that, Humboldt gets the victory tonight against Jayhawk Lynn, 73-0. And I believe, let me pull up their schedule and see who we play next week. Humboldt does improve from an 0-0 start as they had their first district game tonight, so they are leading the district standings. Jayhawk Lynn will fall to 0-1 in district standings. pull up Humboldt's schedule here for you really quick to see where we play next week. Humboldt does improve to 4-0 on the season. Next week we travel, we are at home. We play Erie. Erie looking to get their first win of the season tonight. Oh, excuse me, they did. Erie beat Neodesha in week 2. I was thinking Neodesha won that ball game, but Erie did win that ball game. So they are going to improve to 2-2, one of the better seasons so far in the past few years for the Red Devil squad. For Jayhawk Lynn, they will travel, I believe, next week. No, another home game. Play Southeast Cherokee. That's honestly probably going to be a fairly good contest. Both of them are pretty evenly matched, I would say. Southeast does have one loss on the year, and it was at Pleasanton. And Pleasanton actually has a very, very good ball club this year. And they're look to improve to 4-0. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you to Byron back in the studio. Thank you to all of our sponsors. And everybody listening on the radio, go ahead and drive to wherever you're going safely. Watch for deer. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Do all the necessary safety things to keep us all safe. And we're going to go ahead and see you guys next week. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you, everybody, for listening here on 98.5 FM, 1460 AM. Thank you, everybody. Go Cubs.
The Humboldt Cubs would like to say thank you for listening to this sports broadcast of the Humboldt Cubs Football 1450 AM and 98.5 FM. Tonight's Humboldt Cubs sports broadcast is the Bronco Friday Monarch School Company. Duffy Sunrise Barbecue, Top Living Children's District, Ryan Israel, Big Bar Lutheran Station, Sonic Drive-In, USC 258, Victor Haskell, DLP Bus Center, and Roland Food Market. We're will have 8 hours no matter what you're traveling tonight.